40 tracks in the Mario Kart franchise have never been retro tracks before, but there's a big asterisk there, and I'll let you know why very shortly. And for every track I talk about here, I'm going to give from a rating of 0 to 10 as to how likely it is to appear in the Booster Course Pass in the next 3 waves. If I don't mention a track here, well, it's been a retro before. First up is Super Mario Kart, and here's where the asterisk comes into play for 2 reasons in particular with this game. First is that there are tracks across this entire series that have become retros before, but only in Mario Kart Tour. I wasn't sure whether to count these or not, so I'm going to designate the ones I talk about here with an asterisk. Next, technically every single track in Super Mario Kart has been a retro before because all 20 of them came back as extra tracks in Mario Kart Super Circuit. They were all unlockable, all 20 of them. So for that reason, I'm not going to include any of the Super Mario Kart tracks on this list, but if you think that is unfair, here's a quick list of all the Super Mario Kart tracks that haven't become retros if you don't count Super Circuit. Next is Mario Kart 64, and infamously enough, there's only one track in that game that has never become a retro, not even in Tour, and that is Wario Stadium. No joke, even before Tour came out, all 15 other Mario Kart 64 tracks have become retros, but this one mysteriously never returned. Now, if you don't want to hear anything regarding Booster Course Pass data mines or rumors, then now would probably be a good time to leave the video, but I'm going to give Wario Stadium a 2.5 rating in terms of its likelihood to return to the Booster Course Pass because technically, based on these rumors, there are 0 Mario Kart 64 tracks slated to return for the remainder of the Booster Course Pass, which kind of sucks, but again, in my opinion, it is always unofficial until Nintendo themselves confirm it. So I fully believe that there is still a slight chance that a Mario Kart 64 track can return, and if it's Wario Stadium, that's why I'm giving it a 2.5 rating. Mario Kart Super Circuit's up next, and it has 8 tracks that have never become retros before. 3 of them have actually gotten redesigns, but only in Tour. First is Riverside Park, and it's actually the newest GBA track to get a redesign only in Tour, and it's a highly anticipated track, so for that reason, I feel like it's going to get a 7.5 rating from me in terms of its likelihood to return to the Booster Course Pass. Next up is Cheep Cheep Island, and this track came back in Mario Kart Tour a long time ago, but I'm going to give it a slightly lower rating because even though I like the track more personally, I think Riverside Park had a much bigger overhaul that would be a better fit for an inclusion in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because you know how they like to do those GBA overhauls. Next is Sunset Wilds, which has never returned as a retro until Mario Kart Tour when it came out a few years ago in that game. It's a very fun, popular, and very anticipated track, so I could see it coming back in the Booster Course Pass, and it's actually one of the very few non-Tour tracks that is quote-unquote confirmed by the data mine rumors to return in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and for that reason, it gets a 9.0 rating from me. These next 5 GBA tracks have never appeared as retros in any kind and have not even appeared in Mario Kart Tour as of this video, so they are going to get drastically lower odds from me. First up is Yoshi Desert, and even though I like the track a lot myself, I'm starting to grow to like it a bit more, especially its music. There's a lot of desert tracks though already in 8 Deluxe, so for that reason, I'm giving it a 3.0. Next is Lakeside Park. This is another track that, believe it or not, has never returned as a retro in any kind. However, due to Riverside Park's recent revival in popularity, I see this track having 0 chance of making any comeback whatsoever. 1.5 rating for me. Next is Broken Pier, and this one is simply tragic because Boo Lake just got into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in part of Wave 3, and this is the much more difficult and challenging version of that track. So because of that reason, I see it not getting any hope. 0.5 rating for me. The same thing can be said for GBA Bowser Castle 4. This track never got remade in any capacity, not even in Tour, while all the other GBA Bowser Castles 1, 2, and 3 have gotten remade twice if you count Tour. GBA Bowser Castle 1 was in Mario Kart 7 and Tour, GBA Bowser Castle 2 was in Mario Kart DS in Tour, and GBA Bowser Castle 3 was in Mario Kart Wii, and then in Tour famously because they destroyed the blue color and made it a regular brown color. If a GBA Bowser Castle comes to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's not going to be Bowser Castle 4, 0.5 rating for me. And lastly is GBA Rainbow Road, and this one has not returned in any capacity, not even in Tour, so that alone makes its likelihood suffer, but I'm still holding out hope that every single Mario Kart Rainbow Road can get into the Booster Course Pass, so it's getting slightly higher odds for me. 3.5. Next up is Mario Kart Double Dash with only 4 tracks yet to become retro. In fact, these tracks never even returned in Mario Kart Tour, so these are truly non-retros. First up is Mushroom City. I think the fact that its exclusivity compared to Mushroom Bridge and the fact that it takes place at night makes me enjoy this track more than its counterpart Mushroom Bridge. I would love it if this track got in. Currently, there are 4 GameCube tracks slated to return in the Booster Course Pass, and that would be awesome if we got 4. So because of that reason, I'm actually giving Mushroom Mushroom City a 5.0 chance to make it in, 50-50 odds. Next up is Wario Coliseum, and man, these Wario tracks just don't seem to get any love. Being the only 2-lap track in the entire series, it definitely stands out, but it's very enjoyable for me, and it definitely deserves another shot at the limelight. 4.0 for me. Bowser's Castle is next, but the Booster Course Pass's track record for bringing back Bowser's Castles is, well, non-existent. So as much as I love this track, this is only going to get a 3.0 from me. And of course, you can't forget about GameCube's Rainbow Road. With so many twists and turns, it would be a fantastic fit for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Sure, it hasn't appeared in Tour yet, but I'm still holding out hope. 5.5 rating from me. Mario Kart DS also only has 4 tracks that have never appeared as retros under any circumstances, not even in Tour. First is Figure 8 Circuit, and it's one of the most forgotten tracks in the entire Mario Kart franchise, and honestly, deservedly so. It's so boring, and I wouldn't even be mad if this track just never got brought back in any sense ever. There's only one DS track left to appear in the Booster Course Pass based on the rumors and data mines, so it gets a 0.5 from me. Next is Mario Circuit, the only Mario Circuit to appear in the Star Cup.
Well, besides Mario Circuit 4 on the Super Nintendo.
I know one of you guys was going to comment that. I just know it. I just don't see this track getting an opportunity like the other DS tracks that are much more popular, so this one gets a 1.0 from me. DS Bowser Castle is next, and similarly to GCM Bowser Castle, the Booster Course Pass just doesn't seem to want to bring back Bowser's Castle, so because of that, this only gets a 2.0 from me. DS Rainbow Road is last up, and honestly, even though there is presumably only one DS slot remained in the Booster Course Pass, you never know until it is officially official, and even though there are more tracks that would be better fits, such as Airship Fortress and Delfino Square for the Booster Course Pass, DS Rainbow Road gets a 3.5 rating from me. Mario Kart Wii actually has 9 tracks that have never been retros before, with only 2 of those 9 making their retro debut in Mario Kart Tour. First up, Luigi Circuit, and this one is a very simple track that just I don't feel will get another shot at a Mario Kart game, especially the Booster Course Pass, considering how many other certified Wii bangers there are yet to come in the Booster Course Pass. So over that, Luigi Circuit gets a 0.5 from me. Toad's Factory is a highly rated track. It's very talked about, and it's super popular amongst the Mario Kart Wii community and the Mario Kart community as a whole, and I'm honestly shocked it hasn't appeared as a retro in any capacity, not in 7, not in 8 or 8 Deluxe, and not even in Tour. I feel like there will be some riots going on if Toad's Factory does not get in the Booster Course Pass because of how popular it is. I just don't see it missing out, so it's getting a 6.0 from me. Mario Circuit is in a very similar boat to Luigi Circuit, where I just don't see it getting another opportunity like many of the other more popular Wii tracks, despite the minimap looking like a distorted and slanted 8. 1.5 for me. DK Summit is one of only 2 Wii tracks that have currently gotten remade in Tour that have yet to receive a retro remake anywhere else, and because of that, this instantly gives DK Summit a much higher chance of appearing in the Booster Course Pass in my opinion. Based on the data mines, there are only 3 more Wii tracks set to return in the Booster Course Pass across the next 3 waves, so because of that, I think DK Summit will get one of those slots. 8.5 rating for me. What's nowhere near a guarantee though is Daisy Circuit, practically forgotten about since Mario Kart Wii. I don't think it has a fan favorite enough movement to warrant a comeback. 2.0 for me. Now let's breeze through every track in this game's Special Cup. Dry Ruins is a really fun track, but it not returning to Tour, combined with the fact that there are already a lot of desert tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, really does not do it well. 3.0 for me. Movie Highway may have some insane music, but we already have Toad's Turnpike and Shroom Ridge that have the same gimmick as this track, so I just don't see it coming back anytime soon. 2.0 for me. Bowser Castle, yet again, just like GCN and DS, is just not loved by Nintendo, and I just don't feel like it's going to get a comeback anytime soon. 2.5 for me. Rainbow Road is the only track in the Special Cup and only the second track in this entire game that has not returned in any capacity except in Tour, getting its Tour redesign in January 2023. And based on that sweet redesign and the fact that it is a Rainbow Road track, that elevates its likelihood to an 8.5 for me. Mario Kart 7, believe it or not, is rumored to have 0 new tracks returning for the Booster Course Pass in waves 4, 5, and 6, which is a bummer because there are still so many great Mario Kart 7 tracks out there. 9 out of the 16 Nitro tracks in Mario Kart 7 have not returned in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe yet, while 7 of those 9 are in Mario Kart Tour. Let's breeze through them all. Daisy Hills is a lighthearted track that's a little too basic for me. 2.0 chance. Cheap Cheap Lagoon is one of my least favorite tracks in the entire series and is only made to demonstrate the water mechanic. 1.5 for me. Shy Guy Bazaar is a track set in a very unique location compared to other Mario Kart tracks. 3.0 chance. Woohoo Loop is one of only 2 tracks from Mario Kart 7 that have not made a reappearance of any kind, and because of that reason, I'm giving it a 0.5 rating despite how much of a fun 1-lap track it is to me. Mario Circuit is a good one, but I feel like there are too many Mario Circuits in the game already for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 1.0 for me. Wario Shipyard is a truck I actually grew fond of more playing it in Tour, so I feel like it would be a great addition to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 3.5 for me. Maka Woohoo is the the other track that has not made a reappearance of any kind, and because of that, it gets a 0.5 rating from me despite how much I really love this track. Road Venus Ice Road would be pretty solid to see back, and honestly I feel like it has a pretty strong chance if we knew that there were other 3DS tracks returning. This one gets a 3.0 for me. Bowser's Castle, however, I feel like has the best chance of any 3DS track to return to Mario Kart Deluxe, and I knew how I was talking about the other Bowser's Castle and how they get no love from Nintendo, but this one gets a lot of love from Mario Kart Tour. It feels like it reappears in every 2 to 3 tours, which is insane. So because of that, I'm giving this a 4.0 rating. I know that the data mines and rumors suggest that there are no more 3DS tracks coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. However, it is never official to me in my opinion until it is confirmed by Nintendo when all Wave 6 tracks are released. Before moving on to Tour, I just want to let you know that yes, technically you could count the 25 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Nitro tracks as tracks that have never reappeared as retros, but we all know they're not going to come to the Booster Course Pass since they are already in the game, so I feel like it was pretty insignificant to talk about them. Let me know if you would add them to your list. I probably would. However, if they did return to Mario Kart Tour, that would change everything. Speaking of Tour, let's move on to the 5 Tour tracks that have not become retros as of the making of this video, but are surely to return to the Booster Course Pass and are pretty much guaranteed in my opinion. Those 5 tracks are Vancouver Velocity, Los Angeles Laps, Singapore Speedway, Amsterdam Drift, and Bangkok Rush. Every other Nitro track in Mario Kart Tour is in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass. All of these tracks get a 9.5 rating from me because there is no way, in my opinion, that Nintendo is going to shut down Mario Kart Tour servers without making sure that all of its Nitro tracks are forever guaranteed to be playable in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Believe it or not, according to the data mines, there are a total of 8 more Tour City tracks that are scheduled to appear in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. If we're to believe this, then that means there are 3 more Tour City tracks that are not out in Mario Kart Tour and we don't know anything about them, but they are slated to appear in the Booster Course Pass. Comment down below what you think those 3 more city tracks will be in Mario Kart Tour. In my opinion, Orlando, Cairo, and Rio de Janeiro. So let's finally answer the question, how many Mario Kart tracks in history have never reappeared as a retro track before? I know this will be a more finite number once Wave 6 comes out, but let's crunch the numbers as they are today. If you count the tracks that have never reappeared under any circumstances, not even in Tour, the number is 28. Add all the tracks that have only reappeared in Tour, and that number is 40. If you want to add all the Super Nintendo tracks because you don't count Mario Kart Super Circuit as them being retros in the GBA game, then that number jumps up to 51. If you add all the 25 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Nitros, that number is 76. If you want to add all the Mario Kart arcade game tracks, including the one track Mario Kart Arcade GP VR, then that number is 95. And add all the home circuit tracks, because why not at this point? This number jumps all the way up to 125. And finally, if you want to remove all the Super Nintendo tracks because they do count as retros since they were all in Mario Kart Super Circuit, and if you want to remove all the tracks that have gotten their redesign and reappearance as retros in Mario Kart Tour, then that number drops down below to 102. There are 102 Mario Kart tracks across all 15 games in the entire series that have not been remade once. This number is always changing and will likely dip below 100 as more and more tracks get added to Tour and the Booster Course Pass. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you are new, comment down below how many tracks you officially count as not being remade as retros, and if you want more on Mario Kart tracks, then check out this video over here where my subscribers actually predicted every track that would appear in the Booster Course Pass.